Hello, hi, I'm Kylan Echo, and I want to let you know that I was speaking with FightBox, and they ended up providing me with an arcade stick. Now, the arcade stick that I was provided was their K2, or their Korean lever arcade stick, and and what it is a arcade stick that has a 309 MJ New Help Me in it, which is one of the more modern Crown arcade sticks. It also came with Samwa OBSF buttons. I did end up being able to choose the artwork that I was able to put onto it, and that's why it has the Bloody Roar artwork on it. Now, when we were looking at the arcade stick in general, uh, especially with like the features that it provides you right out the box, you are provided with a lot of things that you can choose from. And I'm very familiar when it comes to modding arcade sticks, because I have modded arcade sticks in the past. I recently did one with a Mad Catz TES, as well as other arcade sticks as well. And I do own quite a few of them. But whenever I went ahead and did the unboxing and went ahead and looked at the fight box itself, I did notice the box said M series, so they did send me a mislabeled box. So when it was supposed to be a K series arcade stick, it could be due to shortages or how they were able to package everything. That's besides the point. It does come with an instruction manual as well as what you're able to be provided with it. Also, you're also provided with an arcade stick that is able to be used on multiple platforms. That being said, you can use this arcade stick on PC, Switch, Xbox, and PlayStation. I would have to assume that the Xbox and the PlayStation would be meaning to be PS3 and Xbox 360. Granted, because it is a FightBox arcade stick, it does come with a 2040 CE, so that's the version that I chose. It's the version that I wanted to use anyways. They do have Gen 5 and Gen 5X boards available as well, and they may end up having other boards. But as of right now, it looks like the options are available, on their website. And these parts are quality. The case itself lets you open it up from the bottom, so you get access to the stick and you get access to the buttons as well if you want to go ahead and change them out or just kind of like poke around in there to see what they have done. They've done a really good wiring job on the inside as well. So whenever you're provided with an arcade stick, they want to make sure that you're given the utmost quality for it. Not to mention the artwork on the arcade stick as well is pretty well printed. I did notice that it is a little bit faded, but that might just be how it was translated from when I was using it through GIMP to make the artwork to sending it over to them. That might just be a one-off thing, I don't know, but it is pretty good, especially with the clarity of the artwork, so I would recommend it. I would definitely recommend an arcade stick like this, especially in an economy like this when we're dealing with like massive arcade stick brands. You're actually saving more money by getting an arcade stick through a company like this, especially if you're trying to look for something that's super premium. Especially with Crown arcade sticks, with the Korean levers can run you anywhere from $80. That's like half the price of the arcade stick right there. The rest of the arcade stick pays for itself. Also, you also get the option on their website to choose what kind of button colors you want. They give you the option to either choose OBSF, OBSFC, OBSJ, Semetsu, Crown, Samsung Dux 202 and 203s, Kwamba Gravities, and the Kwamba QBG CBT. Now, when I was playing the game Tekken 8 and I was playing Bloody Roar, I did notice that the arcade stick does end up sticking onto the sides for some reason. That might be because of how I'm using it. I don't think there's anything wrong with the arcade stick. I just think I was just like not finessing it as much because I'm not super used to using a Crown arcade stick. However, it does feel pretty good because what they do is they ended up including a 30 tensioned rubber grommet inside the arcade stick to make it to where it is very easy to use. It's not too light, and it's not too it's not giving you that much of a hard time trying to use the arcade stick. Now, I did have to have it onto the side whenever I was showing it off on stream, but that is just because of that's just the limits of my hardware when it comes to using a hand cam. However, the hand cam is there, and it is pretty good. I did win some matches when it came to using the arcade stick. Now, this arcade stick is really loud. What I would wish that they would also include with their arcade stick is some inside padding, maybe some inside foam to dampen the how loud it is. Maybe even put some stuff inside the buttons to make sure that it's not going to be super loud, but yet super functional. And they do also have more selections than just the K2 Arcade Stick. Basically, if you wanted to get a leverless arcade stick, you can choose their A-Series arcade sticks or their F-Series. They definitely provide you with Mixbox options, Smashbox options too, and they provide you with a bunch of options in general. If you're more of like a retro gaming enthusiast, they also provide you with like more retro-ish style arcade sticks. Everything from being able to use it on a Neo Geo AES to where it's emulating the arcade experience with either a trackball, one of the spinner tops, as well as still giving you those arcade buttons. They also provide you with mass style arcade sticks as well. And you can also get considerably similar arcade sticks with a cross-up style arcade stick as well on their website. So they provide you with a good amount of options. I think their option selection to price ratio is really good, especially when you're trying to get an arcade stick. I'm more of a traditional arcade stick user, so I ended up getting the traditional arcade sticks. That's what I'd be most comfortable with. One of these days in the future, I do feel like I would want to try out one of their leverless arcade sticks, maybe even one of their cross-ups, just to see how well it is, see if I would even like it. But most of the time I am using traditional arcade sticks whenever I'm playing fighting games or some arcade games as well, through either Fightcade or through Steam or through, in some cases, Good Old Games or wherever that's being offered on what I'm able to use it on. Now, the system that I did use this arcade stick on was Bazite. Bazite is a SteamOS like OS that people can use. Nowadays, considering that the current state of Windows 11 is still not amazing, I would still recommend, if you're wanting to have a good solid gaming experience, and you're not having to rely on games that use anti-cheat or kernel level anti-cheat that's not being enabled for Proton support, I would recommend playing it on an OS like Bazite, Chimera OS, any general Linux gaming distro, or any distro that provides you with optimized defaults out the gate. That way you're not having to really worry about it all that much when it comes to how you're able to use and provide that experience with the arcade sticks. Now, when I was doing the unboxing on it, I did the unboxing on stream, and with the unboxing on stream, I did notice that when I opened the box up, when I opened up the box, I was just really eager to open it up, so I did show off some things. You get the stick, you get the different actuators. You get a 6.2 millimeter actuator, which is like a short throw, and then you have like a 16.2 millimeter, and you have a 16 millimeter, and the 16 millimeter is more like a standard one, but the 16.2 millimeter is more in line with a short throw. That way, when you are hitting the sides, you're actually feeling the feedback just a little bit sooner than what you would the other one. Now, if you do have like an extra crown lying around or extra button caps, considering that these are higher quality arcade stick parts, what you can do is you can actually swap these out if you want to, if you have that experience. Do keep in mind that if you do certain things, I'm not sure if it's going to void your warranty, but I would definitely take a look at their terms of service on their website. and their return policy. Just keep in mind that if you do end up doing something that's not really in line with what their terms of service or their return policy, they may not even be able to take anything back. Now, they do offer product support on their page. If you needed to contact them, they do have a contact us page. They do have product support. They have videos on YouTube as well to provide you with how these arcade sticks would normally function, or to even help you troubleshoot any possible issues. They also have their own branded 2040 CE. I know I spoke a little bit about this earlier, but they do have their own branded 2040 CE when it comes to their arcade sticks. And right now they currently have a whole bunch of arcade sticks on sale. There's a whole bunch of them on sale. The K series arcade sticks are not, but they do have some of the cross-ups. They have the A series, F series, B series on sale. And I think they have some of the retro ones on sale as well. Yeah, they do have that. So you can still get yourself a pretty good arcade stick for the price. I think they're just doing this to clear inventory out because they might have some like backed up that they need to get rid of. But it's still a good idea because like if you were to click on something like one of the classic style, American style arcade sticks, well, you're going to save yourself at least $10. So, do I recommend an arcade stick like this from a company from FightBox? I absolutely do. There are some key takeaways, though, whenever you are using the arcade stick, because it does have some issues that I do want to point out right out the gate. When you are using this arcade stick, you may have situations to where it will start sliding out of your lap. If you want to remedy that, you can actually get some foam padding and put it on the inside of it. I'm not sure as to why they don't offer foam padding. I think the whole idea is you use this on the table. But if you're going to take this to events, if you're going to take this to any locals, if you're going to go to any tournaments, or if you're just going to your friend's house, I don't think having this on the table 100% of the time is a great idea. When I was playing with it on the table, it was shaking my whole desk. I prefer to play with arcade sticks in my lap, which is why I did end up putting padding onto it. But it does work out pretty well, and hopefully they end up providing with a more customized padding option. That way you can still open up the stick and still do any sort of maintenance on it. That is one of my feedbacks that I want to provide with FightBox. That if they can add padding to the bottom of their arcade stick so it doesn't move on the table and it also doesn't move in your lap very much, it's going to be 100% better. I mean, 100% better. Like, it's going to be almost perfect. It's going to be really cool. And I do think that they should also be able to sell you individual parts as well. I'm not entirely certain if they already do this through their support page, but I do think that, hey, if you wanted to buy their K12 and their K2, and you wanted to get their knee lever later on, they should be able to provide you with the option to buy their knee lever, or they can provide you with how they even acquired the knee lever to begin with, and maybe even go through channels like that. Same thing with any of the buttons. Because maybe you might want to switch it out, maybe they might be the only ones who have that in stock. It's just still an option. But they may end up exclusively using those parts for just their arcade stick builds. There's not a lot of building services that I know of that can provide you with a decent arcade stick out the gate, especially with how that they're able to cut their own corners with us, as well as still provide you with a really good presentation or presentable arcade stick that you can use. There's only a few other ones that I know of. You can get the D&B arcade stick parts off of Focus Attack. You can get all Fight Sticks arcade sticks. They are completely metal, but those might run you a little bit more than what FightBox will. So I would recommend looking at FightBox first, giving them a try, seeing how well you like their arcade stick, and going from there. Because they provide you with everything. They build the arcade stick for you. They give you the artwork, and they give it in such a situation to where when you're using the arcade stick, it's highly usable. Also, it has its own cable that it provides you as well, so it does use a USB A to B adapter that goes from A to B to B to A, because you have to be able to hook it up to your computer. not a lot of people might not like that. I understand some people are moving to USB-C because they're more easily accessible for those kind of cords. However, I have noticed in my past, especially with all the new trick adapters I've installed on my arcade sticks, that the USB A to B adapter works just as well and just as fine. So if you want to purchase an arcade stick from FightBox, please let me know. They do provide you with a lot of support. They do provide you with a lot of options, especially when it comes to using their arcade sticks. This is an honest review. I have provided, and this is just based on my experience. I'm using the arcade stick. If I had the money, I would buy another one. I believe it would be a leverless one. But you know, tell me what you think. Would you want to get a FightBox arcade stick? Does that sound like something that you want to get in the future? If you want to let me know, go ahead and let me know on the. Go ahead and let me know. You can go ahead and, I mean, how would you feel about this? You know, if you want to get an arcade stick from FightBox, you know, just let me know in the comment section down below. Go ahead and like and comment on this video, and I'll be seeing you next time. Bye bye.